Russia and China have just sent troops to Burkina Faso to help President Ibrahim Traore to secure his environment. This was after an alleged coup by the French military that were planning to invade Burkina Faso. Guys, all of this started when France was the sole custodian of the Sahel regions. The France military was there to protect the Sahel region or to help them fight against terrorism. But as time went on, Burkina Faso recorded more deaths than usual that were resulting from terrorism. So they thought that France was instead using this as a means to have something else. And so they finally disengaged with France. So after this, we have gotten an alleged coup d'etat or alleged coup that is planning to remove or to invade Burkina Faso. And as such, on Wednesday, a lot of people from Burkina Faso and all over the country gathered behind President Ibrahim Traore to make sure that nothing of such happens. So just now we are getting news that the Chinese president and the President Vladimir Putin have sent military to Burkina Faso to protect the environment and to make sure that nothing of such happens. So this and more we have in this episode, and we are going to tell you everything in full. So if you are still new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for upcoming updates. So now let's get into the full video.
In 2024, Burkina Faso remained the country most severely impacted by terrorism for the second consecutive year. This year also marked the third successive year with terrorism fatalities exceeding 1,000 in the country. The northern and central eastern regions, adjacent to the borders with Mali and Niger, experienced more than 2/3 of all attacks. Centre Nord registered the highest mortality rate, including the most severe attack of 2024, where Janir militants killed between 200 and 600 individuals during an assault on soldiers and civilians constructing defensive trenches. Peace NIM continued as the predominant terrorist organization responsible for nearly half of Burkina Faso's attacks, with their activities and casualties increasing by over 50%. In contrast, IS operations decreased considerably, with only one attack in 2024 compared to 8 in 2023, and terrorism deaths attributed to IS decreased by 91%, from 175 to 15. Burkina Faso experienced less direct intervention from foreign powers prior to 2023, except for French troops stationed in the country since 2009. Following the second coup in September 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traore began developing connections with Russia regarding military assistance and, in January 2023, requested the withdrawal of French troops and its ambassador. In January 2024, Russian private military personnel arrived in Ouagadougou, with the maximum presence reaching around 300. However, there has been minimal improvement in the country's security situation. In July 2024, at least 100 of the Bear Brigade military advisors departed from Burkina Faso to support Russian military responses to Ukraine's capture of the Kursk region. Given the severity of the security crisis in Burkina Faso, the impact of Russian troops remains uncertain. Reports indicate that their primary function has been providing direct protection for junta leaders, rather than actively participating in combat operations. Beyond direct military support, Russian influence models have advanced their strategic objectives by shaping narratives supportive of the military and countering Western and UN influence. Russian social media and traditional media campaigns have been operational for over a decade throughout Africa, with recent focus on the Sahel. These efforts are extensive, with 2 Russian-linked influencers collectively reaching over 28 million social media followers. Their content is amplified through a network of hundreds of Russian-associated accounts and pages. Burkina Faso has experienced at least 8 Russian-backed influence campaigns, matching the activity documented in Mali and the Central African Republic, both hosting significant Russian presence. Africa Corp has served as the principal instrument for orchestrating influence efforts in Africa. connected to nearly half of all Russian operations on the continent. Since Yevgeny Prigozhin's death in 2023, Russia's information activities are transitioning to new entities, including the Russian Africa Corps and the Africa Initiative news agency. Russia has established its own media infrastructure with online, television, and radio channels. Russian embassies have reportedly facilitated the creation of African organizations to produce and disseminate information. The data illustrates the growth of Russia's influence in the region, beginning in 2017 and steadily increasing in scope. The initiation and growth of Russian influence correlates with the increase of negative sentiment in Burkina Faso towards France. US influence also increased during this period due to sustained economic aid, diplomatic engagement, and security cooperation. Despite political changes, including the January 2022 coup d'état, the US remained a key partner, providing significant development assistance and supporting efforts to counter extremism in the Sahel region. Politically, the US maintained diplomatic relations and supported efforts to restore stability following the coup, ensuring continued engagement. Military and other forms of assistance were frozen following the coup, suggesting that US influence may decrease in the future. The influence landscape, similar to Mali, remains complex. China has steadily increased its influence, having achieved its goal of Burkina Faso terminating its cooperation with Taiwan in 2019. China has secured gold, copper, and nickel exploration licenses, and has also established relations with the new government. While Chinese interests predominate along economic lines, there is a growing commitment to protect its interests against security threats. China has pledged 1 billion yuan, $136 million, 0 cents, in military assistance to train 60 military personnel and 10 law enforcement members across Africa. This pledge, part of China's global security initiative, includes support for an African standby force to conduct peacekeeping and counterinsurgency operations. Such a development is consistent with China seeking to protect its influence, especially in regions where non-state armed actors affect its investments. The direct implications for security dynamics, particularly in a country like Burkina Faso, remain to be determined.